Happy We Are Wednesday and happy February. Do you know what's special about this month?
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you're here. For those of you who don't know, my name is Mrs. A, and I'm so glad that you've decided to join me today. Each time we're together, I always ask about your feelings, or your zone. And I like to ask about your feelings because I think it's important that we each take a moment, at least once throughout the day, to check in with ourselves, listen to our brain and our body, and identify and communicate or share how we're feeling. And so I've made a feelings poster that has a bunch of different feelings or emotions on it. And I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. But I'd love if you can just take some time to sit still, maybe close your eyes, and try to identify how you're feeling. If you're having trouble finding the right word or the match, look at the different facial features. Look at the way the eyes are shaped, or the mouth. The eyebrows are a good clue as well. For example, if I was showing you this face, what do you think I might be feeling? Surprised, yeah. Maybe a little startled. What about if I was showing this face? Happy, excited, joyful. And so I'd like you to take some time to look at the feelings poster and identify your feeling. Remember, the character might look different than you. They may have a different hairstyle, they may have a different skin tone, but as long as their facial features or shapes of their eyes or their eyebrows or their mouth is a match to what you are feeling, then that's all you need. So go ahead and look at that poster. I'll do it as well. Did you find the feeling or emotion that you're feeling? Will you share it out loud? Oh, thank you so much. I found mine too. I am feeling happy, like this person wearing a hijab. They are feeling happy because they are smiling. Their eyes are pinched up a little bit. I can tell their eyebrows are pretty excited. And I'm feeling really similarly because there is so much to look forward to in this month of February. So I'm feeling really happy. I'm also feeling happy because it's a brand new month. I've said it a few times, but it is the month of February, and that is the second month in our year. And I wanted to pause for a second and celebrate any friends who have a February birthday. Maybe you celebrate a birthday in February. Maybe your grown-ups celebrate a birthday, or your siblings, or your pets, or your friends. And so if you celebrate or know someone who celebrates a birthday in February, I want to wish you a happy, happy birthday. It's your birthday month, and that is really exciting. So friends, now that we've had a moment to celebrate some birthdays, let's check our whole date. And it's a really fun one today because it is 2 February /2, the second day in February, /22. It is 2/2/22. That is so many twos. And I am curious if any of you remember. In season 1, we talked about counting in a certain way when we see even numbers. And 2 is an even number because I can share it equally or evenly. And I'm wondering if you remember how we can count when we have dates that have even numbers. Yeah, we can count by twos. Counting by twos means that we only say the even numbers. We skip the odd numbers. So for example, if we were counting up to 4, we would say 2, 2, 4. And it would include all of them, but we wouldn't say out loud the odd numbers. It's a really cool way to challenge our brain and help us understand numbers even better. And so today we're going to get a lot of practice counting by 2s. We'll get to do it each time we do an exercise. But before we get started exercising, will you check in with Fig? They are showing us one of the moves we're going to do today. Do you have any guesses? Yeah, it looks like their whole body is making a big star shape. Their arms and legs are up and out. You may know what exercise they're showing. If you do, that's awesome. If you're not sure yet, that's okay. You can still think about it. We'll start off with a different exercise first. The first thing we're going to do is 2 elbow to knee touches. And you can do this sitting or standing, whatever is best for your body. And we'll touch our one elbow. I'm going to start with my right, and we'll touch it to our opposite knee. So right to left or left to right. Again, you can do it sitting or standing. Go ahead and get in position that's comfortable and good for you. And we'll count by 2s. So that means we won't say 1. We'll skip that, but we'll still do the exercise, and then we'll say 2. Ready? 2. Nicely done. Now, if counting by 2s was a little confusing or tricky, that's okay. We get another chance to try here. And this time we're going to do 2 squats. So squats are best standing up if you're able. And I like to stick my arms out straight and bend my knees. And I'm going to try to keep my arms nice and straight out in front of me and squat down as low as I can. Will you squat with me counting by 2s? Let's do it. 2. Nice work. Now, we have to count all the way up to 22 this time, counting by 2s, and it's going to be a little trickier than before. But go ahead and take a breath. If you're not sure, you can always follow along. If you're really confident at counting by 2s, great. This is a perfect opportunity to show what you know. Fig, what should we do 22 of? Oh, jumping jacks. Fantastic. Jumping jacks are best standing up if you're able. And again, we'll count by 2s. Ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Awesome, awesome work. Thank you for counting by 2s and trying those jumping jacks with me. Now we're going to take 3 cool down breaths. This helps us lower our heart rate, cool down our body, and just settle back into a comfortable position. So however you like to breathe, let's do 3 breaths each time we hear the bell. Fantastic. Thanks so much for moving your body and cooling back down with me. Now, earlier I asked if you know why February is so special, and one of the reasons is because many of you celebrate birthdays in February, like we talked about. But the real reason February is so special is because it is Black History Month. Now, Black history and American history are all interconnected. And so even outside of the month of February, we're going to be learning about and talking about Black Americans or African Americans and how they've helped shape our world. But in February especially, we celebrate and learn about and understand a bit more about Black history and folks who have helped make our world a better place. And so I'm really excited to share my message with you today and share some incredible books as well. Let's take a peek at that message. Now, you may know that in my messages I hide alliterations or words that start with the same letter or sound. So be on the lookout for those. I also am going to start putting in some onomatopoeias or sound words, so be carefully looking for those as well. dear, diverse, and curious kids. Do you know how Black History Month got started? Well, just about 100 years ago, Carter G. Woodson worked to establish Negro History Week. Negro is another way to say black. It's a word that was used many years ago, and most people don't prefer it anymore. They don't like that word, so that's why it's in quotes. He wanted to help people learn about the countless black folks who had contributed to the advance of human civilization, people who make our world better. While there are certainly some people who are really well known around the world for their work, there are also grandmothers, neighbors, kids, dads, teachers, moms, cousins, aunts, and more that are doing incredible work every day to make our world more fair, more safe, and more beautiful. This month, we're going to learn more about some of the people whose courage changed our world for the better. We'll also read stories that can inspire us to be brave and do great things, no matter how small. Love, Mrs. A. And so I wanted to show you, I mentioned a very important man, Carter G. Woodson. He started Black History Month by creating Black History Week nearly 100 years ago. And I have his picture right here. This is a portrait by Sasha Wilkes. And Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week, which turned into Black History Month, just under 100 years ago. And that may sound like a long time, but if you have grandmas or grandpas, it's likely that they and their parents and their brothers or sisters might have been alive at the exact same time. So even though it may sound like a long time, 100 years, it's really not that far away. It's really just our grandparents and their parents. And so Carter G. Woodson is the man we have to thank for Black History Month. And today I want to share some books with you that help us think a little teeny tiny bit about Black history and kind of understand a little bit about the history of Black Americans. And I have 3 very different books here. This first one is actually about African traditions, because many African Americans have African heritage or ancestry or people in their family. That means that they came from Africa. And while some people came from Africa on their own, some people did not come on their own. They were enslaved or taken. And so African history, even though we live in America, is really connected to Black history in America because so many people have African history and heritage or family members. And so we're going to read just a few pages of this book called Ashanti to Zulu, and it's all about African traditions. It's by Margaret Musgrove with pictures by Leo and Diane Dillon. And I love this book because they talk about 26 different tribes or groups of people in Africa, and each page starts with a different letter of the alphabet. So we'll start here at E. Ewe drummers talk with drums. A long time ago, Ewe drums sent news to people miles and miles away. Today there are telephones and telegraphs in Africa, but the drums still talk. On special occasions, the Ewe drum and dance together. The talking drums tell everyone what the dance is about and what steps to do. These drums have strings stretched from top to bottom all around them. By squeezing the strings against their bodies as they hit the drums, the drummers can make the voices higher or lower. That is so cool. I know that drumming is really important to many groups or tribes in Africa and many people in America. Many African American people, many Latinx people. Drums are a really important part of a lot of different cultures and history. So that was pretty cool to learn. Let's listen to the page that starts with F. The Fanti offer their guests white, bubbly palm wine that has a clean, fresh smell. The wine comes from tree trunks, and the Fanti chop down or tap palm trees to get it. People sip it from gourds called calabashes. Before drinking, a person pours a little on the ground and says, "Come drink with us." This is called pouring libation, and it is done to honor the ancestors. You may remember ancestors are all the people that have come before us. So our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-great-grandparents, all the people that helped make us and bring us into the world and become who we are. Without our ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We're going to skip around a few letters and go to I. The Ikoma gather honey to eat and sell. There is a tiny bird in their land which loves honey but cannot get into the beehives. When this bird sees a person, it becomes excited and flies to him. Fluttering and chattering, it leads the way through the bush to a hive. The Ikoma always reward the bird with a gift of honeycomb. Otherwise, they say, it may never help them find the honey again. These birds are called honey guides, and if you like to learn about nature or birds like I do, you should definitely check them out. They are an important part of this culture and an important part of helping people find the honey in order to eat and sell. J. The Jia are herders in the lovely green land of Uganda. The men spend most of their time roaming the land with their cattle, while the women do the farming. Jia men love their animals so much that they name themselves after them. The animals are named for the colors and markings on their skin, and the men take these same names. So their animals are so important to them and their tribe and their group that they name themselves after them. What a beautiful way to honor that relationship and connection. And last but not least, we'll look at letters M and N. M. Maasai. Maasai men groom their long, thick hair with red clay and cow grease. Dozens of neat, teeny braids flow over their strong, lean shoulders. Pulled and looped into fancy styles, the braids flop heavily when they run or jump. It is Maasai custom for the women to shave their heads and wear pounds and pounds of jewelry made of beaded iron and copper wire. They soothe the skin under the heavy wires with special leaves and grease. Wow, sounds and looks are really beautiful. So many intricate designs in the men's hair, and so many intricate and detailed designs in the women's jewelry. And last letter we'll look at together is N. Ndaka. Ndaka people wrap a bride in so much cloth that no one knows how big she is. They circle her head with yards and yards of colorful material and make her a veil of sparkling, clinking beads. Ndaka men lift her to their shoulders on a platform of young trees covered with flowers. A cloth stretched above her protects her from the hot sun. Flute players and singers dance gaily beside her as she rides to the groom's village. I love this because it reminds me of some of the customs or traditions that you may have experienced. I know I have experienced, where brides are dressed up in so much fabric or cloth. And although the brides I have seen are not dressed in lots of different colors, there's usually so much material to their dresses or their gowns that you can't really tell how big or tall or how small they are because they're covered in so much material. And I really love this book because it gives you a little peek into some of the African traditions of over 25 different tribes all around the continent of Africa. These tribes live in different countries, and so I love to learn a bit about that, even if it's just a tiny sneak peek into their culture. This next book is really different. This book focuses on Black people in the United States, and while it doesn't say each of their names, it honors them and talks about what they have gone through and what they are doing and where they are going. And it's really important that we begin to understand and learn about each other, even if we are not Black, because there are people in our community, in our city, in our world, right? And if they have these experiences, then it is our job to learn about them, to listen to them, and to go alongside of them and walk with them, just like they will with us, because we are a part of a community, an entire world community, and specifically, we're talking about the United States and our community here, Turtle Island, or the United States of America. So this book, The Undefeated, like I said, kind of walks us through a bit of the history and present and future of Black Americans. And it's a really beautiful, powerful book. We'll just read a few pages together. But it is by Kwame Alexander and Kadir Nelson, and it is called The Undefeated. This is for the unflappable, the sophisticated ones who box adversity and tackle vision. Adversity is another way to say when there are obstacles in your way or people telling you that you can't or shouldn't do something. For people who shine their light for the world to see and don't stop till the break of dawn. And so here's an example, like I said, of some Black men and women past and present. This is for the unafraid, the audacious ones who carried the red, white, and weary blues on the battlefield to save an imperfect union. Now, as I mentioned earlier, while there are some Black people in the United States who have chosen to come here, maybe they weren't born here, they may have been born in another country, they came here on their own, there are also hundreds and thousands of Black people whose families, whose grandparents, whose great-grandparents did not choose to come here on their own. They were captured from countries in Africa and enslaved and brought here, even though they didn't ask to be, even though they quite literally asked for the opposite. And so what's really powerful about this page and this book is that there are people who fought to make sure that everyone could be free. Everyone, no matter the color of their skin, even though they were brought to this country, and they weren't free when they were brought here. And so this page is where we'll pause on this book. But I think it's so powerful to think of the unafraid and audacious, that means really brave and outgoing, folks who carried the red, white, and weary blue, our flag, to help save an imperfect union, to help save a place that wasn't perfect and isn't perfect, just like us. None of us are perfect, but we can all work to help make our country, help make our city, help make our community a better place to be. And finally, one of my most favorite books to talk about just Black history and kind of help set the mood for the month is called The ABCs of Black History. It's by Rio Cortez, illustrated by Lauren Semmer. We're going to start here with this quote from James Baldwin, who is a really fantastic author. He writes or has written books for grown-ups. He's no longer alive. And so if your grown-ups are looking for something to read, they should definitely check out James Baldwin's books. The quote here says, "History is not the past. It is the present. We carry our history with us. We are our history." James Baldwin. We'll read just the first 3 letters in this book. It goes ABC. It's an alphabet book, similar to this one, but you'll see it's different because it doesn't talk about African traditions. It talks a bit more about the experience of being Black in the United States. The ABCs of Black History. Words by Rio Cortez. Pictures by Lauren Semmer. Here you see a big banner. It says, "Let us march on till victory is won." A. A is for anthem, a banner of song that wraps us in hope, lets us know we belong. We lift up our voices, lift them and sing from stages and street corners, let freedom ring. B is for beautiful. I'm talking to you. Your voice, your height, your hair color, your hue. B is for brave, for bright, and for bold. For those who stood up, even when they were told to step back, stand down, remember their place. B is for brotherhood, for believing in grace. C is for community, where we live, laugh, and eat. And for church, where we worship, mourn, sing, and meet. Did you hear Reverend King preach on his dream of civil rights, human rights? A powerful theme. Friends, please, please, please grab this book from your library. It goes on D, E, F, all the letters of the alphabet. Grab this book from your bookstore or library. It is so beautiful and has so much great information in there. Friends, I hope you enjoyed all of these books. I have so many other incredible books to share with you this month, and I can't wait until we get a chance to look at those next time. For now, though, it's almost time for us to say goodbye. Before we go, I was hoping we could do a mindful moment. And today I have a mindful looking moment for us. This one is all about looking and observing and noticing the books around us. And so I'd like you to take a minute and look at the books around you. You can look at the books I have here too, and notice what is similar about them. What is different about them? What about the characters or illustrations? What about the people in your books or on the covers? Do they have similar skin tones? Do they all look the same? Go ahead and make some observations. We'll do this activity quietly for 1 minute. What did you notice about your books or the books around me? Yes, me too. I noticed that they were different sizes and shapes. I noticed that they had many different colors on them. Many of the characters are different colors or have different skin tones or skin colors. Many of the fonts and the words are different colors. What else did you notice? Oh, me too. I noticed that there were books around me that I haven't read in a long time. I noticed there were some books that feel really super special to me. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for taking that mindful moment with me. Friends, I hope that you enjoyed our time together, and I hope that you learned something new or are curious or wondering something. I'm really excited to see you again soon. Until then, make sure you like and subscribe, and I am going to send you off with some love if you'd like it, and a hug if you want it. And I'll see you next time.